In this video, we're going to talk about how to run as an independent candidate. There are unique challenges that you will face doing that because you will not be privy to the resources and help that comes with an established political party. But there are ways to do it. Others have done it. Stick with me in this video because I'm going to show you how. In this video, we're going to talk about how to get on the ballot, and here's a hint: if you can't get on the ballot, you can't win anything. How to develop a network of influential people willing to support you. How to develop and craft a message that's going to be a little bit different than the messages other candidates normally use. How to target the voters most likely to vote for you, and a little bit about how you raise the money you'll need to pay for your effort. Let's talk about that first one that's fundamental. It's getting on the ballot. Truthfully, in many jurisdictions, it's harder for a candidate running as an independent to get on the ballot that is members of a party. It doesn't mean you can't do this. I'm just going to point out that wherever you are running, whatever office you want to run for, one of the first things you should do is find out what it takes for you to qualify and get your name on the ballot as an independent candidate. The restrictions and the requirements vary enormously from state to state and jurisdiction to jurisdiction. In some states, they're very, very cumbersome and hard to overcome. Don't plan a whole campaign and go raise money and find out later that it's impossible for you to get your name on the ballot. Do that first. Item number 2, running as an independent candidate. Well, I mentioned that you are not going to have the network that normally comes to candidates who are running on a particular political party line. That means you need to develop your own network of influential people and opinion leaders who are willing to tell partisan voters that on this year they shouldn't vote a partisan candidate in a race. They ought to vote for you. Now, where do you find them? Well, let's start with the people you already know. Go through your contact list on your iPhone. Pick out the names of people that you consider highly influential in your state or jurisdiction. Give them a call and talk this over. And ask that they, if they're with you, ask that they start connecting you with influential people that you know. Second place to go is in a state or a particular community is look for people whose opinion seems to matter a lot. They're quite often quoted in newspapers. They're quite often business leaders or leaders of a legal establishment or the kind of people who sit on the board of United Way or the people who run the civic and community organizations like the Kiwanis Club or the Lions Club. Every community has a group of people who just seem to be seen a lot, heard a lot. In some communities, it's even the ministers are prominent people who can be helpful to you in a political campaign. The large point is here that there are a group of people in the jurisdiction where you're running, and you need to have conversations with them because they can help you overcome the burden of you face by not having the resources of a political party available to you. Every candidate needs a message, but a candidate running as an independent needs an especially unique message. Yes, there are things that voters expect you to tell them in the course of a campaign, what makes you qualified, what makes your moral code in sync with theirs, what problems that you are going to solve if you get the chance to do it, the story you tell that explains why you want the job. But there's another component here that is part of your story. You're running as an independent. That means you're not like the Democrat or the Republican on the ballot. That means you are unique. You are different. You have to go out of your way to explain to the voters what that difference is, because you have to give them a compelling reason not to vote the way they normally vote. Now, here's what you look for. What can you say that no other candidate in the race can say or will say? What are you going to do that no other candidate in the race will ever even try to do? That thing that you're going to do that will, you believe, improve the quality of life in your community. This is a compelling message, but it's an essential message to someone running as an independent. You have to give people a really good reason not to do something they don't normally do and do for you what is unusual for them. A good message, you can accomplish that. And by the way, there are at least 2, maybe 3 members of the United States Senate who are independents. This is the way they got there. The next item on your agenda is what I call precision targeting of your audience. Here's the fact of life running as an independent. Democrats who vote in primaries, they're not going to vote for you because they're deeply committed Democrats. Republicans who vote in primaries, deeply committed Republicans, they will not abandon their party nominee. That leaves you Democrats that don't vote in primaries, Republicans that don't vote in primaries, and voters not registered with any party. That's probably the target audience that you want to reach. Now, I shall leave to you at this point figuring out how to do that, but what I will tell you, if this process is not all that difficult, if you have a voter list that gives you essential information you need to properly refine and develop that target audience. If you don't know how to do that, say so in the comment section. Ask me the question and I'll tell you where to go to get it and save you some time. A couple of things that we need to cover here. One is how you target your audience and how you reach them. Here's the key to running a campaign without spending more money than you're ever going to raise. It's deciding the easiest way to get a message to your target audience with your message of what makes you different than either of the choices on the ballot. How you do that depends on the number of people you are trying to reach, but I'm trying to explain here, there are a number of ways to do it. One is a ground operation where you send people out to knock on doors, or even yourself if it's a small jurisdiction where people know each other. But once you get into communities of more than 10 or 12,000 people, it's really hard to do all the door-to-door stuff. That's where you have to resort to what I call precision targeted messaging, like you would do on Facebook or direct mail. In a much larger jurisdiction, you're going to have to resort to radio and television. There are many different kinds of TV advertising. But in properly targeting and budgeting for and planning a strategy for running as an independent, this needs to be part of your consideration. A word about your resources. There are lots of ways to raise money for a political campaign. The most important source of your money starts with you. You need stout supporters who believe in you and believe in your cause and are willing to stand up and help you fulfill it. Go through every name in your contact list. Every name you see, jot down the name of someone who would recognize your voice or know your face if they saw you on the street. Those are people I'm going to ask you to call because you can't do this without resources. Secondly, once you're done with that, just for good measure, go check your Facebook friends. Go check your LinkedIn connections. Go check the people who go in and out of your Instagram account. Maybe some of them are friends. You can even go through and check your high school and college yearbooks, looking for friends that you know that you forgot to know. You will need to bring to the table a group of people who are willing to help you pay the campaign bills to advance your cause. Now, those are not only the people who will do it, but it is one of the places you have to start. And with many of these people who are capable of giving you real money, you're going to have to either go see them or ask. This is what you lose by not being a member of a political party. What you gained by not being connected to a political party is the independence to be who you really are and stand for a cause that's really grand. Congratulations if you've decided to do this. As I mentioned, if you got something you want to ask me, put it in the comment section. Below this video is a link to a video. It's called How to Create a Compelling Campaign Message. If you got any doubts about how to do that, watch that video.